in life, there's things you want and there's things you are pursuing and shit. And sometimes in order to get those things or to become more focused on getting those things or attaining those goals, whatever the end goal is, the process is. You gotta cut some dead weight. You gotta cut some people out of your life sometimes, like toxic people. Now, you got some people around you. Like I saw something. I'm gonna take a little diversion real quick. Like when I was at work the other day, I saw something. It was like sometimes like people ain't it was a depression shit, some shit like that, man. But it was about like they're not being negative, they're not sending negative vibes. It's just depression, and they don't come out about it because people accuse them of being toxic or negative. I was like, hey, I never thought about that shit that way. But at the same time, I ain't never had nobody in my circle that went through no shit like that, and it was like, oh man, I don't want to be around this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So, if that's the case, I couldn't attest to that part of it. But, back to the main part. But yeah, like, you gotta cut the toxic people out of your life, and it's not the sense of somebody struggling with a mental disorder, and that's something they can control. It's just that pervasive, like, just listless, like, you know a motherfucker don't want shit in their life but to sit back and criticize and take whatever handouts they can get. So what you gonna do is remove yourself from that person, people, situation. You know?
Well, for me, I feel like since I've gotten out the service, I've been cutting people left and right. Simply for, like I think we've all went through it. It's like your mind changes, you grow, you evolve. The shit that was like, I guess the perfect analogy that I can always give on this particular topic is something my father always used to tell me, that what's important to you at 29 ain't gonna be important to you at 19. And that's the same thing that goes with people. So I think just a natural maturation process. It's like the same crew that I had at 34, well, the crew that I had at 24 is not at 34. You know what I'm saying? And that's not by accident. It's always been, at least with my crew, it's always been underlying issues where it's like, the one that mature quicker, that's on a different type of wavelength, is the one that always ends up, distancing himself or keeping himself as a whole at a distance. And that's all. That person was always me. It was like, it's cool for right now, but it's like, it's cool for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but, Sunday, Monday, I gotta get on when I'm on. So, again, make a story less long, but I think it's a natural maturation process.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think being the oldest on this podcast, I can tell you that from I'm talking juice. By the time I was young, if you look at my circle then to my circle now, I mean, you would know how many loose ends I had to tighten up, how many people I had to cut off, and it's not always I can't deal with this person. Well, it's I can't deal with this person, but it's not always, you know what I'm saying, from a standpoint of not liking this person, getting along with this person, or whatever. Sometimes, okay, my life is moving in this direction, and you're going the opposite direction. You know what I'm saying? I have to distance myself from you. So, the type of people who I've cut off over the years are, I don't have any yes men in my circle. I don't have any cowards in my circle. You know what I mean? I don't have any people who think negative in my circle. I really don't have a lot of traditional views on life in my circle, because in my circle, when we build, I have to be able to talk to you without tiptoeing around something. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's work, relationships, religion, family shit, whatever we're talking about, I want to be able to speak my mind. And if you think I'm crazy, you be like, no, you tripping. But I don't want to be able to having to sugarcoat it to spare your feelings, or for the sake of you might be crazy if I say it. You know what I'm saying? Like when we deal, us three people on here now, you know what I'm saying? We might say some far out shit to the world, but this is what we believe through our research or what's in our heart. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who's gonna give me a negative look when I see my mind, you know what I'm saying? I'm not around them people. So number one type of person that I had to cut off over the years is the negative people. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I don't want to take credit for saying that I taught my wife, but that's something I always told my wife also. Like, you know what I'm saying? She would always come to me with her problems about X, Y, and Z, person X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, well, look, they're just negative. You have to cut them off. It could be family sometimes. I'm like, well, that don't mean you don't love them. It just means you can't deal with them on a day-to-day basis. So they're bringing you down. People got to understand energy and how it works. You know what I mean? If you don't think toxic people with negative energy brings you down, only thing you have to do is walk inside a room where the people are feeling sorrow. Somebody just died. People are feeling sad. Walk in that room and tell me you won't feel sad too. Be in the best mood in the world. You just fucking woke up and your lady cooked the best breakfast. You had a good day. You drive your whip to your friend's house. You go over there, and the only thing he's doing is being negative about his relationship, his job. You need more money, this and that. And it's this person's fault and that person's fault. And that's just going to bring your energy right down. You know what I'm saying? So if you understand energy, you understand shit like that, you got to understand that you got to cut those people off. And that's what I've been able to do.
Yeah, it's like in agreement with what was said by the brethren, along with taking it a little bit further. You have to be able to recognize, excuse me, somehow, some way I feel like we always come back to this. Like if you know yourself, you got to be able to figure out, you know what I'm saying, how people like that fit into your life. If you feel like, you know what I'm saying, I could tolerate this for however long because this person is this person to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a family member, excuse me, family member or somebody who's been close to you over the years. Otherwise, obviously they fit into this situation. Otherwise, you wouldn't be cutting them off. But those relationships in general, tend to go in cycles. So, you know what I'm saying? I get the idea and maybe this person just having an off time, it'll come back to you. But at the same time, do you need that in your life? Even that little bit of negativity, do you need that? Even that little bit of, you know, not even just coming from them, but you having to hold your joy in when you're around that person. Because you know they just want that person or people, because you know even through this negative time, they want to be the center of attention. As they want to suck the joy out of the room. And I'm not talking about, as was spoken of earlier, situations where actual tragedies happen. I'm just saying, like, general negative people, not people who are depressed, but just, as we're talking about negative people. If that's somebody who's close to you or was close to you, evaluate the situation because you know yourself and make that decision and let them know. Stand firm behind that decision to make that decision, stand firm behind it, and let them know, don't waver on it. Because you just gave them another victory. I'm not saying this is about wins and losses, but you gave them another opportunity to have a stronghold in your life. Whereas you could be accomplishing something that you want to do and, you know, doing things that you want people, you know what I'm saying, around you to be doing also. You take care of positive shit and enjoying yourself. Instead, you've been an aide or you've been a guest to a pity party. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, once again, for anybody who out there struggles with mental disorder, I'm not saying people should just be able to suck shit up and get on with life. But at the same time, if I can't help you get out of a situation with my advice or my examples, as in like what you're saying from me, and there's no other way you can make that happen, you're not the type of person I need around me. That's me personally. Y'all can speak on like if y'all feel a different way about that. But, excuse me, that's not 2 cents on it.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm not saying. I ain't got no rebuttal or retort or anything.
I ain't got a rebuttal, but I add something to it. Hearing you speak, Nick, reminded me of something that I need to clarify. There is, like, life's about balance, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the reason why we have good and bad, you know what I'm saying? That's the reason why nobody's 100% good or 100% bad, you know what I'm saying? So, if my brothers, who I know are positive people, have a negative moment, you know what I'm saying, or somebody who I got love for, somebody I consider family, or somebody who I generally know is not typically a negative person, if they're going through it, that don't mean that I'm not there to listen to it, you know what I'm saying? Because I go through it too, we all do, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want to vent, you know what I mean? And it might come across as
I don't mean to interject, but I mean, I know why you doing it, but man, look, if this motherfuckers out there that needed to be explained to, this ain't the fucking podcast for you.
That's true, brother. I felt the need to explain.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying. Like, I get why
but you never know what a person's going through. You know what I'm saying? As a person who lost somebody close to me to, you know, taking their own life, you never know what a person's going through. So sometimes they might need you there. You know what I'm saying? They might need that shoulder to cry on. They might need that ear. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to make it seem like I don't want no negativity around me, so get away from me. I don't want negativity around me. If you're generally just a negative person, always have a negative, pessimistic look on everything, I don't want that shit around me. But if you're going through it, that don't mean you can't come to me and talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to be there to listen and try to give a solution to the problem. You know what I'm saying? But the type of person I don't like is when I give you a solution to the problem and you don't take it, you go and do the same thing over and over again and then come to me complaining again. I can't deal with that. But, yeah, man.
You know what? I used to look at that shit the same way, but to a certain extent, this is the reason why I'm not so vocal with my, you know what I'm saying, advice giving or anything like that. Because, again, I used to struggle with that shit too, but now I just look at it as like, look, you gonna do whatever it is that you already got your heart set on. So, if you looking for me to try to talk you out of it, that's one thing. You know what I'm saying? Just frame it as such. Don't frame it as like you coming to me for advice, so on and so forth. Because if you just need to vent, that's perfectly fine too. But don't have me waste my energy and my time. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm just listening, okay, I'm just letting you get that shit out. But if you trying to seek my counsel and my guidance, that's something completely different. So,
okay. I see. Want story time? No. No. There's a particular young lady who I dealt with before, who would always tell me how bad her mother treated her. You know what I'm saying? And then treat her rest of her siblings that way. You know what I'm saying? And I would always tell her, listen, man, misery loves company, which is that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, misery loves company. You're a little different than the rest of your siblings, and this is why she treats you that way. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I would always give her a solution to the problem. The very next day, this young lady would call me with the same problem without trying to implement the solution that I gave her or move forward or change her mindset or work towards moving herself from that environment. So, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, long story short, I had to cut him off. I had to cut her off. You know what I mean? That's just an example of what I'm talking about. Like, it's not that I won't listen. I'll give you advice. And you can take it for what it is, face value, but, you know what I mean? If you're going to complain to me the very next day about the same shit, then, you know what I'm saying, it's only a matter of time before I have to cut you off. Because I know that you're the type of person who just want to be negative. And it's a little different for females. I know I'm a man and she's a female, so she feels like she can talk to me, but that shit gets annoying too. You know what I'm saying? After a while.
Like, with me, anyway, like, wasn't a female, had female tendencies. But all in all, come to me, you know what I'm saying, and it's been the same thing, like, for a while now. Well, not presently, I guess, but it was a nice little lengthy amount of time at that juncture where it happened. But it was like, call me, be sitting on the phone for hours, going over the same things over and over and over, and I'm sitting up there, it's like, okay. I'm not hearing no solution. So it's like, what we doing? Round and round in circles, and it's like, yo, look, I got a life of my own to lead. Like, I'm here for you, but in the same sense, when we done with this conversation, I'm going back to my life and you going back to your misery. So it will probably behoove you to get it together a little quicker. You know what I'm saying? Not like trying to speed you, but in the same sense, wallowing is one thing. You know what I'm saying?
So now bring it back, well, full circle thus far. If we're gonna cut out the negative people who are, like, without a doubt, just toxic and negative to be around, and we're gonna cut off those people who, even though they're close to us and they have like we have real relationships with them, or we know them to not just be, you know what I'm saying, like some fair weather friends, and we're cutting them off. Back to knowing yourself, like, you have to recognize when you're being that person. If that's you, it's easier said than done. But first things first, if you don't, go find a therapist, man. Like, that might be just what you need, and it might be something wrong with you. It could lead to something, you know, outside of just the trials and tribulations you're going through at the time. It could be something that's seriously wrong with you, like, not just neurologically or psychologically, but it could be something causing, some disease causing it somewhere else in your body, or emanating from somewhere else in your body and causing you to behave erratically. So that could lead to that. But you shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, the type of person. Obviously, this shouldn't be anybody's toes being stepped on, because this is clearly where we are heading with this, and this has been outright said already. Like, you shouldn't be the type of person who's going to be, you know, offended when people remove themselves from around you. And you shouldn't want to be the type of person who is just trying to be the source of attention because you're going through something. If that's even the case. You know, some people just want attention by any means, and they fabricate stories just to get that attention. But if somebody's giving you solutions to your problems that you're telling them about, and you're not taking up that advice, and if, you know what I'm saying, you walk up to motherfuckers and you see them start to turn around, you become that person. The first step, like I said, is therapy. The second step is, if you can, reviewing all those things, and I guess this is what therapy would get out, is like all these instances of you felt something wrong happened. What truly happened? Like, instead of trying to force the blame on somebody else, think about what you were doing wrong. Accept the responsibility for what went wrong in the situation that came from you. And I know for some of you, it might be too late in life to just do even a 30-degree turn, like, you are who you are. But, like, taking responsibility is the way to, like, get past a lot of this. Like, you can't be mad. Like, I don't want to make it sound all morbid and shit, but you can't be mad, you know what I'm saying, if you do something and you get seriously injured, if it was your fault, you know what I'm saying. Like, if you're driving on a highway and you're talking on the phone and shit, and you're smoking and you're drinking and whatever, and a fucking car hits you, you know what I'm saying, because you're not paying attention. It's not the fucking car's fault, you know what I'm saying, that the car didn't tell you to get out there and do all that bullshit. The same thing with life and being a negative person, you know what I'm saying, and going through something and being a negative person. Like, everybody has to go through some type of adversity, and if you allow that adversity to beat you up, to the point where it's just complain about it and make it everybody else's problem and not yours.
I ain't got nothing, man. I think that sums up everything in totality.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So I'll start because, like, I haven't experienced any other religious type of grieving ceremony, like funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So my family is maternally, predominantly on my maternal side, from Louisiana, and from there, Great Migration, just like most other Black American people, they spread out throughout the country. But most of the funerals I've been to in Louisiana differ even from those that I experienced when I was just growing up, you know, in Fifth Ward, Houston, Texas. Not major differences in some of them, but differences nonetheless. Like, you go to a Black Baptist, Southern Baptist especially, funeral, and it's a lot of organ playing, a lot of music, a lot of crying, a lot of, like, it looks like theatrics, you know, very expressive shows of sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I recall one of my aunts, my great aunts, when she passed, her daughter was so, like, shaken by it. Like, she was on, like, over the casket, and she was crying, so, it was obviously tears. And she was over the casket, like, around her mother's face, and her tears fell on her face, and she was like, see? She was like, my mom's alive. She was alive. See, she's crying. And I was like, damn. Like, and I was young at the time, so I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I understood death, but I'm like, I never experienced anything like that. I'm like, damn, what would make you do that? You know what I'm saying? What can make you do that? And, like, she broke some shit, you know? She was, like, moving, like, she was shaking the casket and shit, trying to pick her. I don't know if she's trying to pick her mom up or whatever the fuck. But yeah, that shit was crazy. And I'm like, damn. Like, I was like, welcome to, you know what I'm saying? That's like, if you get off the bus from a small country-ass town and go to New York City, that was like that for me. Like, fucking damn. So this is serious shit. That's around the time that I became aware. Like, I knew what death was, but I became aware of, like, funerals and shit, because that was the first funeral I remember going to. And then, fast forward to, just like you were saying earlier, to my grandfather's funeral. Like, it came on the end of him having cancer. He had suffered, he lived a full life. No sadness from me. Like, not sadness. No open grieving. Of course I was sad. But, no open grieving because I'd rather him have passed on like that than to sit here on earth suffering from cancer, you know. But, around us, everybody, you know, it's a lot of commotion, a lot of open grieving. Now, Louisiana, it's a celebration of life, you know what I'm saying? Christian or not. You got that second line and you dancing and shit, celebrating life. And that's the type of thing, that type of philosophy I always kept on it. Like, once I understood what that was it. Like, I sit around being sad that I'm gone, or sad that somebody's gone, celebrate the life that they live. Because, like I said, whether or not you believe in religion, this person lives a life in your lifetime. Celebrate what you got from that person or people.
I mean, for me, like, obviously, with my mother being from, well, hell, not even my mother, my great-grandmother originally from Louisiana themselves, Hammond, to be exact. My mother was born in New Orleans. That's pretty much, first funeral I ever went to was in Louisiana, so, that was pretty much what it was, more so a celebration. You still had the people crying, you know, going through it or whatever, but, you know, as soon as the second line started, I mean, it became a celebration. Up here where I'm at in Michigan, it's full-blown theatrics, you know, the Holy Ghost, quote-unquote, like, you know, moving, shaking of the casket. Some people trying to get in the casket, even at the damn cemetery, at the grave site. Oh, take me with you, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Like, full-fledged on, like, and these are family members, so to let you know how silly some of them are, because some of y'all have this pleasure of meeting them. But, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, and it's like home, blah, 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 and then after the church, you got the repast, and then after the repast, when everybody going for the gusto, all the younger folks anyway, like, at that particular time, as far as up here, like 18, 19 on up, be going for it. Like, I'm about to go to the stove, blah, 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 so on and so forth. You got your cool uncle or one of your cool older cousins that be out there with y'all, but yeah, you getting towed down. And the crying and the moaning and how the younger folks would deal with it, it'd be that way. You know what I'm saying? Those that was closest to whoever just passed on, they acting out there as well. But those that was like, okay, I know who this person was, family, sad moment. It's like we was talking about energy earlier, like feeding off that. But then once, we out to church and after the stuffy clothes and everybody loose, and that's when the younger folks real start mourning, publicly. Yeah. Oh, I got it.
Alright. Well, I remember, of course I remember, when my father had last year, first person in my family, friend, who I went to a service that was, my father's a devoted Muslim, so, Sunni Muslim, so it's a lot different in Islam when somebody passed. You know what I'm saying? It's actually forbidden to show discontent with God's will or Allah's will. You know what I'm saying? MashaAllah. Because, you know what I'm saying? It was God's will. So the whole ceremony is different. Everything is different. You know what I'm saying? We was at the facility, and you know what I'm saying, we get a prayer. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you're asking Allah to forgive the person for their sin. You know what I'm saying? And my father actually passed away during Ramadan, which is a great thing when you lose somebody you love. But you know what I'm saying? I can say it without shit on that. It's a great thing because I know, according to my father's beliefs, you know what I'm saying, it's like his entrance into paradise. You know what I'm saying? The gates of heaven is open and hell is closed and the devil is shackled. And that's my first time my father had fast for Ramadan in about 20 years. You know, my father was he's 75 when he passed. So just going through that, you know what I'm saying, it really opened up my eyes to death, and while we're here, and it made me examine and it made me study a little more. And you know what I mean? Like, because before that, I try not to go to funerals. I don't care. I lost a lot of friends coming up in the game, coming up in the hood, and I lost family members. But, I really didn't go to any of funerals, friends' funerals or anything because, I just looked at death a lot different. Until when I got married and my wife started, she lost family members. Her grandfather, her little brother, and people like that who passed. So, of course I'm going to go support my wife. So that's when I really just started going to funerals. And them coming from a Baptist background, Christian background, it's a lot different. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of grieving. There's a lot of falling out. You know what I'm saying? Everything pretty much what you two fellas described goes on. But it wasn't until I lost my father last year until it made me look at it a lot different. We all going to die one day. That's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? And like Joe said, his grandfather lived a full life, and it's not as sad when you live a full life. When you've seen it, you've done it, you've been through it, you had kids, you had grandkids, you had great-grandkids. You know what I'm saying? All your friends are gone, probably. At least a lot of them are. You know what I'm saying? It's your time when you live a full life. You can be happy with that. So I choose to look at things like that. If you're a religious person, just know that, especially if you believe in Allah, if you believe in Islam, death is not a bad thing. Meaning, I'm not saying you should want to die. I'm saying it's an inevitable thing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? While we're here, we gotta live in the moment and do everything we need to do to make sure our family's taken care of, make sure a joyous life, try to live an abundant life. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're here for. And so it made me look at myself and say, I gotta get myself together. I gotta need to value my great friends, two of them, my beautiful wife, my beautiful children. This is what life is about. So it took for my father to pass, which is something that's supposed to be so sad, and y'all know me, y'all know I was hurt, you know what I'm saying? Right. To realize that that's not what it's about. Life is not about who got the most money and cars and women. It's about the friendships, those relationships, and how you touch people along the way. You know what I'm saying? All this sounds cliche, but it's real. Like, that's what life is about. What kind of influence do you leave on to people? Not just those under you, but your peers. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Was you a positive person to them? Did you help them change for the better? You know what I'm saying? Did you travel the world? Did you see the world? Did you love? Did you cry? You know what I'm saying? That's what life is. So when I hear about death, I'm saddened by it, especially if I was really close to the person. But I also know that, you know what I'm saying, it's inevitable. It's a part of life. And whether you believe in heaven or hell or anything like that, or just believe in that reincarnation, or believe that, you know what I'm saying, just that we're all energy so we never die, whatever you believe, either we're in a better place. I don't believe in hell, so we're in a better place. And that's just the reality of it, man. My father, you know what I'm saying, when we buried my father, it's a lot different. That's different also. It's not like you buried him in a casket and then, you know what I'm saying, he's lowered in the grave. It's like, no. They take him out the casket. They put something down over in the ground. And they put him in the ground. You know what I'm saying? They put the casket over him. You know what I'm saying? And then they bury it. Then they put the dirt back on it. You know what I'm saying? Because from him we come from, and then from him we return. I'm saying like that. You know what I'm saying? So you're going right back to him the way that you came here. You know what I'm saying? And not inside of a casket. You didn't come out of your mama in a casket. So it's a lot different. You know what I'm saying? And I looked at it, and it really, really, really helped me with the grieving process. It really, really made me look at life like, damn. You know what I'm saying? This man, 75 years old. He lived a full life. He has kids. He has grandkids. He has great-grandkids. You know what I'm saying? He has grandkids. And it's not a sad thing. It's a sad thing on the surface. It's a sad thing because I lost my father. I lost my best friend. I lost my teacher. That's sad. But I don't judge God's will, for one. For two, I know that this is what he wanted. I'm not saying he wanted to die, but when he passed, he wants to go out knowing that he's a devoted Muslim, and he went out during Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? What other way to go out for him? You know what I'm saying? He taught me everything he needed to teach me. From the time I was little, he always told me the most important time to be there for your children is from age 0 to 7. If you're there, no matter what you do after that, they're going to always love you. You know what I'm saying? They might be mad at you, they might be disappointed in you, but you have to shape and mold them from the time they're born to 7 years old. Those are the most important. You be there for your child. He taught me so much about life. He taught me so much about society. He taught me so much about the game. He taught me about women. He taught me that you always become a woman's friend. You can have any woman you want. You know what I'm saying? That's true. You know what I'm saying? So he taught me. He did his job, and he's returned. How could I be mad at that? I'm happy for him. That's just the way I look at life now. So when I hear about people die, it hurts me more when they're young and didn't live a full life. But I know that, you know what I'm saying, it's inevitable. If you believe in God, you believe that God don't make no mistakes. If you don't believe in God, you still know it's inevitable. So either way it go. You know what I'm saying? We all gonna have that time. It's gonna be our time one day. So we gotta make the best out of it. That's why I want to travel the world with y'all. That's why I want to travel the world with my wife. That's why I want to laugh, joke, live in the moment, raise my children, teach them the same game my father taught me, and then we move on. And that's how it goes. When it's my time to go, that shit continue. My son teaches his son. My daughter teaches her son and her daughter. You know what I'm saying? It just keeps going. You live forever. My father also told me you live forever if you spread your seed. You know what I'm saying? Your name will never die because it lives through them. You have to reproduce. And I'm happy. I'm happy that my father is where he needs to be.
Indeed, profound indeed, Brother Joe.
That's real. But and for one, thanks for giving us and the audience insight into the Islamic grieving process, or the rituals and ceremonies associated with the funeral rites. But that's just two. There are millions of more religions, but the only other type of funeral or burial tradition that the only other types I'm privy to are Hindu and Buddhist, and those are also like leading from what Dula was just talking about, and also an idea I stand behind is the same thing. Like, just you come from the earth, you going back to the earth, regardless of what you think of a soul, spirit, so on and so forth. Like, I think your physical body, like, just throw me in the ground, bro. Shit, ain't no point in all that. But the Buddhists, they believe in reincarnation, so it's not, you know, a thing where it's just like people just, I'm not saying nobody gets sad, but people are what we're used to and what we describe with the black Christian heavily Baptist tradition of mourning. So, like, just learning that, when I did learn it, like, whenever in my life, that was a shock. But Hindus, as I understand it, they burn their people, like, on the Ganges, the river. Like, make big funeral pyres and just burn them. You know, shit, it ain't no, like, some people, and by people I mean, like, masses of people believe in, for religious reasons and other, just like we're saying reincarnation, some believe, and just like you this is you, and that's the end. Obviously don't believe in being reincarnated, and some people believe in whatever, atheism and whatever. But to know or think, because until you know what I'm saying, if you believe this up until you're dead, you might as well know it. But to think that, you know what I'm saying, like you are the sole being, or like one of the sole beings in this world who is going through something when grieving occurs, or when somebody is gone, is not, like, it's just not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying people should have their own type of grieving processes and everybody should be the same, but nobody out there should think that I lost somebody and I'm this religion, I'm that religion, I'm supposed to do this, so this is how it got to be. It has to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you gotta grieve a certain way, no matter which way you were brought up, in my opinion, go ahead and go for it, man, because as we were talking about earlier with losing a dead weight, you got one life, and if you're at a funeral, you most definitely at a example of why you should do what you want to do with your life. You know what I'm saying? Because one day it's gonna be you who everybody is there to celebrate, you know, or mourn. So do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody could tell you what's a healthy time period to be mourning. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, because these people we lose are big influencers and huge parts of our lives. They gave genes to us, you know what I'm saying? They held us when we cried and when we were born and sick. So you can't expect people to, you know what I'm saying, take some cookie cutter approach to losing somebody. So and I'm not saying religion doesn't have its place in mourning and in the way the whole process was shaped for me, but I'm not a religious person, but even then I wouldn't ostracize somebody because they took a path towards mourning, and our thing was to do this, you know what I'm saying?
I know with me, I had the misfortune, well, can't even call it misfortune, but losing parents within, months of each other. And obviously, my mother's death was, I think that hit me harder simply because it was so sudden. Like 1 minute, talking to her, whatever, and within 3 hours, you know what I'm saying, looking at her on the slab like it. And that kind of, fucks you up. Like I said, depending on how close you are to a person, the mourning process don't start at the funeral, at the ceremony, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you want to call it. It starts the moment you lose that person. So, and the planning and the preparation and all of this, it's like, that the mourning process between both my parents for me was different, but yet still wasn't the same, if that makes any sense. Because like I said, my mother's was sudden. My father, it's like, okay, how he responds is pretty much going to be telling. And he really didn't respond so well. But, and I don't say that, you know what I'm saying, in a begrudging or in a way like that. It's like you spent, almost 40 years with a person, spawned kids and grandchildren. And it's like you literally grown with a person. So it's like, I think it was my brother-in-law who said that I think my father's funeral. It's like, if that ain't like a storybook into a damn love story, I don't know what it is. Like, she leaves, then, you see my father's basically slowly deteriorating from that night in the hospital to the morning he actually left, the morning he actually passed. It's like, it was inevitable. Hence, and my response to it, as far as with mourning and everything like that, it's like, I think similar to what Dude was saying. Life is ridiculously too short. I think somebody, I was listening to an interview or something, I ain't gonna say who, ain't gonna blow their shit up, but somebody said something about life is a short film. It's a very short film. And that pretty much like kind of, started the mourning process for me. Cause it's like, my father passed at 62, my mother passed at 59. So, that's still relatively young. But in the same sense, chock full of life experiences too. But at that same tip, it was kind of like, my father, it was more so, it's like, okay. It wasn't a softer blow by no means, because it's the same person that taught me how to be a man. And gave me full-length examples of that in his rights and wrongs, just throughout his entire actions as how I knew it, or whatever. Like, he tried to shield me from some of his demons and so on and so forth, but then in particular, it's like, look, he don't see him. So this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. But I think I'm getting away from my original point, so I try to reel it back in. But for him, and this is like pretty much like not religious based as far as with mourning, it was more so it's like, okay, not suffering no more, not, sitting back reminiscing about, when my mother was here with him, and like, I think when my mother passed, his life flashed before his eyes. Because, like, she was his lifeline. That's when when you have that eye-opening experience or realization, it was like, because we had scares of both my parents throughout, the years or whatever. But this one was like, okay, she's gone. And like I said, you see him slowly deteriorating. It's like, damn, she was really his fucking lifeline. Like, for real. Like, I don't think you can get no deeper as far as love than that. Because as much as they used to go back and forth, bicker and argue about motherfucking anything from hog-head cheese to living color, like motherfuckers like, yo, she ain't here, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So, then having that experience of having to go to the doctor's office with him the very next morning when my mother passed. And it was like, seeing him break down and like really admit to it himself, where it's like, yo, I just ain't got it no more. Something so trivial as him saying, yo, you probably ain't gonna be able to drive no more. Usually when doctors and all that shit say, oh, he couldn't do something, oh, fuck them, they don't know what the fuck they talking about him. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this way for this long, I can get through it. But when she passed, like, yeah, I can't do this shit. So I say all of that to say this, for at least for the portion of my father, we knew the end was near, and it kind of started the grieving process. I think what fucked us all up in general was for the fact of we didn't think it was gonna happen that quickly. Because I think Dooley, when you and your wife came to my mother's funeral, you said something about your wife saying something to you about that when she saw him.
Yep, I was just about to bring that up. And my wife, for the listeners, she works in the medical field, so she says generally when they lose somebody, somebody in love like that, and she's been around it, of course she's seen a lot of people who she's treated pass. Generally within 6 months, the other one passes also. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's tough, you know what I mean? So my mom's is still here, but my father was a player, man. That love was gone a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents were, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, that's a true love story. So it's a little different. I wanted to say that, and I also wanted to touch on the process again, because Joe was talking about the process on different religions, as far as the burial process and the grieving process. And I touched on it a little bit, but let me go through it. So in Islam, when a person passes, you know what I mean, they want to put the body in the ground within 24 hours. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Well, unless it's like foul play or something like that, of course, there's exceptions to it, but because my father was in the ground within 48 hours because, we had to get to Ohio from Indiana. 10 to give us a day. And so the first thing they do is they wash the body, right? I was not part of that process. I could have been, because my other brother was. And then they put the body in this white linen cloth, enshrouding the body. And I already touched on the prayers. That's what comes next. You know what I'm saying? So when I got there, we did a prayer, right? And the women are not allowed. This is Islam. The women are not allowed out there with the men, so they're behind the curtain in the back. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So from that process, the body's taken to the grave. Now there's always a little different. You know what I'm saying? Like the immediate family was allowed to see the body. The thing about it, if it would have been more traditional, I would have never saw my father at all. I just would know he was gone. You know what I'm saying? And so they let the immediate family come to the back where he was already on the slab and wrapped in his linen, his white linen, and you know what I'm saying, laying there lifeless. He looked peaceful. You know what I'm saying? But his mouth was covered because he had fell. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so then they let me, my wife, my sibling, my children, they let us view the body, and they say, touch him. And they were so caught up on us touching the body and saying our goodbyes. So nobody was crying and falling out. There was nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? I was at peace with it. It's like I didn't know how. I mean, I knew I was sad, and I really wasn't at peace with it. But seeing my father there laying lifeless, you would think it would just drive me overboard, but it had the opposite effect of that. That moment right there gave me the peace that I needed. And when he goes out, this is what way he went to go out. I was saying during Ramadan praying. I don't know if he was really praying, let's say, tell me, but it was. I know for sure it was during Ramadan, and I know he was partaking in Ramadan this year because he told me, because I frequently talked to him when not as much as I wanted to, but when I talked to him, he was fast. So this is the way he wanted to go out. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, I already talked about the burial, how they buried him, but it's important to know that they face the head has to be fixed towards Mecca. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And
I was supposed to take part in burying him as far as putting the dirt back over him, but I definitely was not going to do that. And that's it. He don't have no headstone. Not that we can't afford it. It's just completely different in Islam, man. This is God's will. You know what I'm saying? Mashallah, this was God's will. You know what I mean? We're happy for this man. He's in paradise. That's the vibe it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how can I go against his beliefs just because I'm hurt and I feel so strong about something? No, this is what he believes. So I'm going to take away 75 years of his beliefs for my own personal feelings. I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy for him that, not that he's gone. Of course I'm not happy he's gone. That's ridiculous. But knowing the fact of the matter is that he's gone, if this dude had him out, this is the way he wanted to go out during Ramadan. And I can't complain.
Well, I'm in another, okay. So, as an agnostic person, like, I'm trying to think of the people. Aside from my grandfather that I've lost since I've been agnostic. And, well, it's not really fair to the discussion to try to separate what I'm saying by my religious experience, because I've never, even when I was forced to practice a religion, I was not a religious person. Even when I wanted to believe in a religion, I wasn't. But I do share, like I said earlier, the belief that, like, it's just, you know what I'm saying, you came, you live, you going back to the stardust, man. That's what I feel, and I'm not saying that to discredit anybody's religion. It's just to build up on a point. You're going back to the stardust. So, as was mentioned earlier, like, take advantage of these moments. Now, that was something I believed prior to this story I'm about to tell y'all, but like it really hit home. Like somebody close to me, their grandparents, one of their grandparents was in the hospice. And like, might as well say witness this person passed. And that is not like, it was nothing traumatic or not. And that's how I know I'm at peace with like the process of like death. You live and you die. It was just, you could have told me they had a sandwich in there. It's not like because I didn't feel anything from this person. It's just, that's part of life. Just as much as breathing is part of living, death is a part of life. You know what I'm saying? So it means nothing to me when somebody, like, yes, personal connections make it harder, you know, and as somebody said earlier, wasted potential in a form of younger people dying makes it harder. But it's just it, man. Like, shit. A ant can get picked up by a goddamn anteater. They ain't throwing no funeral for a motherfucker. What's going on with their lives. But that's what separates us from other sentient, other beings, is our ability to form these memories, these lasting memories with each other, to reflect on them, to use them as examples and lessons, and to pass them on. Like, that's what makes us unique. No matter what you believe, no matter how you think you're gonna or what you think is going to happen to the idea of you after, in the afterlife, in the quote-unquote afterlife. You do form bonds with people. You do get to leave impressions on people's memories, and you do get to enjoy life. Like, no matter what you're going through, you do get to enjoy life. Like, even in this country we live in, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is not the guarantee of it. But you do get to enjoy life if you're able to do things that are enjoyable. So my last advice to you all on this topic would be to do just that, man. Enjoy life. Like, take that as an example. Enjoy, and by enjoying life, enjoy the people in your life while they're here.
Episode of the last time we spoke. Next week we will be reviewing the album Evolution by Naptown Finest, Young Hoosier. But until then, as always, I am Steph,
International Joe,
also known as Process Joe, and it's your boy Young Hoover from Naptown, West Side though.
This is the last time we spoke. Again, join us next week, where we will be reviewing Young Hoosier's album, Evolution. But again, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and rate. All of that good shit. And until the next time we speak, this is the last time we spoke. Thank you for listening. You funky bitch, you.